let's talk about touch-ups here and there. We're going to talk with the Orange County plastic surgeons, Dr. Juris Bunkus and Deborah Ekstrom. Thank you both for joining us, both doctors, of course.
Thank you.
You guys have been doing this for a long time, so I want to kind of ask you right off the top, what's the most rewarding part of this job? I'll ask you both these questions. Rewarding or maybe even challenging part of this that people wouldn't expect?
Well, the most rewarding part is a happy patient.
Okay.
And that's what we try to achieve with all our patients. But it doesn't always happen. But the majority of the time, people are happy, and that gives us the greatest satisfaction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess I've always been about making people successful.
Okay.
And when they're comfortable in their skin, they put themselves out there more, they're more confident, and it's so gratifying to see that transformation, or people just get that increase in confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling, and it's the most rewarding part of the work.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people think of plastic surgery as maybe something that's a little bit superficial. I just want to look even better than I already look or something like that. But there can be some real challenges for people who come up with hair lips or things like that are very serious. That a plastic surgeon can really have a life-changing experience for someone, right?
Well, that's absolutely true, and that's the part of our surgery that's called reconstructive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no less traumatic for someone to start to lose their vital look when they still feel vital inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they have that disharmony of looking in the mirror. And to adjust that and improve that can also be very gratifying, both for the patient and for yourself.
Now, sometimes I'll look at some sort of clickbait on the web and it says, certain celebrity unrecognizable after plastic surgery. So I want to ask, how do you balance enhancing someone's appearance while still keeping their natural, unique features of themselves, their own identity in there?
You know, I frequently ask a person to bring in a photograph of how they looked when they were younger, when we're talking about rejuvenation. And I don't want someone to look like someone they've never been. We've all seen pictures of Kenny Rogers and these folks who've had something
There's
done.
one.
And they're unrecognizable, and that's not what we do. We really strive to get a very natural appearance. And with facelift surgery, for example, the culprit is a sagging muscle underneath your skin. Gives you jowls, gives you loose neck. When you're young, your face looks like a V. As you age, it starts to turn into a pear shape. Well, you can lift the skin up and put all the muscles back where they were, and that person will look much, much more like they did when they were younger. But you can destroy all your work by pulling the skin tight.
Okay.
Because
right.
I have 40-year-old kids, and my kids can lift up their skin. They're not plastered back like this. Why would I do that to someone else?
Right.
So we tighten the underlying structure, take bags out from underneath the eyes and so forth. We don't over-pull to make somebody look artificial.
Dr. Ekstrom, is that one of the things that maybe your patients are concerned with? I want to look like me, but what I used to look like, but don't go too far?
Yes, they are so concerned about that. And we strive to make people look natural and normal. I like to tell people you're not going to get a lot of comments from your families and friends because you're going to look like how you used to look, and they're just going to take that in stride. So don't be surprised if you don't get a lot of comments. But you are going to have the face that they remember. And when we achieve that, then we feel like we've had success.
And with procedures like rhinoplasties, for example, that person will never have had a nose without a bump or whatever they're trying to fix. But you don't want to overcorrect them. You don't want to take someone with a big hump and give them an Irish scoop, because then everybody notices that, and it's not a compliment. But if you take someone with a big hump in their nose and give them a nice straight nose, I'd say 99% of the time they go back and see their friends, and no friend will notice that they had the bump taken off. And that's what we strive to do.
And there's a subtlety to it. Now, have you ever had to turn someone comes in for a procedure? No, I want something, and you say, I don't think we're the right people for you.
Absolutely.
Because you have to stand by where you want to be able to say, I helped someone, not kind of, you maybe in your sense, maybe took someone in the wrong direction.
Sure, and where we see this a lot as well is where people coming in and asking for liposuction. You'll have men in particular who have very little external fat, but they have a round little belly, internal fat, beer belly, whatever you want to call it. They come in and ask for a liposuction. There's not a chance in the world you'll make them look better with the liposuction. And then I actually buy them a book from Amazon and send it to them on how to lose weight. But I'm not going to do surgery on them. Because that's the wrong thing to do.
It takes it maybe that step too far. Let me ask about plastic surgery, maybe perhaps even a facelift. Is there certain age that's ideal to start doing procedures like that, or is there you're in your 70s now, it's a little too late for that? Is there a certain time frame that's just right?
It's not usually too late. There's usually something you can do, but the classic standby is 45 to 55 for the first facelift.
Okay.
And I wasn't in that age group anymore when I had my first facelift, but that's kind of the standby. That being said, some people need intervention fairly early. Other people can go longer. So some of it depends on your genes, your aging, how much sun exposure you've had, and obviously in California we have a little bit more sun exposure. So it is somewhat individual, but that's kind of the standby thought.
Okay. Now, Dr. Ekstrom said your first facelift. Are there people who come in, and is it a kind of a regular thing? Okay, we're going to kind of do tune-ups, and can it be subtle like that?
You know, when you have a facelift, usually you turn the clock back about 15 years.
Okay.
So if you're 50 years old, you have it done, you're going to look like you did before you were 40. Not the texture of your skin. If it's weathered from the sun, that's not going to change, but I'm talking about the contour and the shape.
Right.
From that point forward, you continue to age at the same rate you would have had you not had the surgery. And that means if you have a facelift at 50 and you come in when you're 80, you're going to look like you're 65. And I'm a good example of that. I had one about 12 years ago. Today, I look way better than I did 13, 14 years ago, but I don't look as good as I did 10 years ago because things have loosened a little bit.
Okay.
And some people will come and have a second lift. If it's reasonable, we'll be happy to do it for them. But once you have one, most people are not inclined to have a second one because they look better than all their friends their age.
Okay.
The other thing to remember is that as we age, our bone gets thin and we lose the natural fat that is in our face. So obviously the upholstery being tightened and everything being put back where it belongs isn't going to last forever. So because we do change, and you know, we like to think we change all the time, but we actually change in fits and starts.
Right. It's subtle. I mean, it's a gradual process of aging. It's just like anything in life, right?
Exactly.
Okay. What are some of the trends now that are going on? And I mean, I remember the shelf for girls and their butts for a little while was a thing. And are the trends now, or what do you guys think of like the latest things? What are people asking for?
Well, for breasts, many of the people who had those humongous implants put in the 80s are now coming in and going with smaller ones and having lifts.
Okay.
Or even having them removed. You know, if they've gained some weight, they have a little more volume, they'll have them take it out.
Okay.
But face-wise, rhinoplasty-wise, I think the biggest difference from 20 years ago is that people tend to want to be overdone less. People aren't asking to be overdone. Whereas I remember 20 years ago, whether I was doing a nose, a breast, or a facelift, everybody was showing me with their fingers what they wanted, and it was always a little bit overdone. And I never was part of that game. I never wanted to do those.
As far as
sorry,
as far as trends go,
okay.
smaller breasts, smaller butts.
Smaller.
Yeah, that's definitely the trend, and I think it's going to go on for a decade or more.
Okay.
Not going as big in either direction. In fact, starting to do what he said, coming back, getting them made smaller.
Okay. I was going to ask you, are there regional trends? Because there's an East Coast, West Coast experience that you've had.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
There is for sure. So I think more drama on the West Coast. There's more, people are in general more body conscious. People also are much more interested in on a whole makeover, whereas they like to do that stepwise on the East Coast. So it's a very different mindset,
Okay.
but the same endpoint.
Right. So you're going in the same direction, we're just getting there in a different route kind of thing. Is there one thing that you wish more patients knew or understood before they come in for a consultation? Like the one that they just don't, maybe people just don't understand about plastic surgery that you want to let them know?
Yeah, our biggest job is to give patients realistic expectations. And there are many who come in who ask us for results that are not reasonable.
Okay.
And we have to tell them what the individual procedures will accomplish. A liposuction will remove the excess fat. It's not going to tighten your skin.
Okay.
A facelift will help your contour, but it's not going to help your surface of your skin.
The surface is getting the actual texture.
If you have your eyelids done, your bags will be gone, the extra skin will be gone, but when you smile, you'll still have crow's feet. So it's very important for us to educate the patient on realistic expectations.
The other thing is that people now, do something they couldn't do 10 years ago, which is tremendous amount of research on the internet. And not all of it is good information.
Yes.
So helping them to sort out what's real from what's not, and then to talk about their canvas, not a blank canvas. So they might look at a picture and say, I want to look like this, but their body type doesn't really accommodate that. So as he talked about, you have to create realistic expectations with what you're starting with.
Buyer beware. Make sure to go to Orange County Plastic Surgery for that consultation. Make sure you get their good advice from professionals. Thank you very much, Dr. Buckus, and thank you, Dr. Ekstrom, for coming.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.